Bill Belichick, this is the thumbnail, Big Matt. Is he out after this? And there's rumors already that he's the next Chargers head coach. If we're going to play this assumption game, I would assume that Jim Harbaugh is the next coach for the LA Chargers, and that is just something that I'm hearing that could be very well be true. He has developed quarterback after quarterback from every level, Big Smitty, Big Matt, from University of San Diego, where he went 10-0 on a non-scholarship FCS, to Stanford, to the 49ers in Kaepernick, to a Super Bowl with a 5-minute power delay away from winning a Super Bowl. And now you are doing what you're doing with a really undervalued quarterback in Michigan. I think he's perfect for Justin Herbert. I think he's the best fit possible in LA.
I agree. I think that Harbaugh is a better fit than Belichick. I think Robert Kraft should sit back and reevaluate what he's doing. I don't think that firing Bill Belichick or parting ways mutually is smart. I think it's ridiculous. If you give this man a quarterback, that's a playoff team. Their defense is outstanding. Their offensive line is not a problem. Their quarterback play is atrocious. Although their weapons are atrocious. And their offensive skill players are atrocious. I agree. They look, Stevenson's a good back. You can find a good running back, but their receivers and their quarterback play is terrible. Their tight ends and their backs are pretty good. Their offensive line is not bad. The defense is pretty damn good. They are fly around. They've held multiple teams under 10 points. When I look at everything that's going on with the Patriots, it reminds me of last year's Bronco team. Like losing at Baltimore 10-9, losing 15-13, losing 12-9, losing 7-6. Like they lost 6-0 to the fucking Chargers. Like they have a ton of potential, but they also have the best head coach in the history of professional football, a guy who's done it everywhere from an assistant to the head man. And on top, but one thing you have to understand is he did it with Lawrence Taylor with the Giants, and he did it with Tom Brady with the Patriots. So he did it with the best defensive player ever, and he did it with the best offensive player ever. And he got him 9 rings and God knows how many Super Bowl appearances, right? So all that said, I feel that if I'm Robert Kraft and I'm looking at this from the Patriots perspective, the biggest knock on the Patriots and Robert Kraft is allowing Tom Brady to go to Tampa Bay and thinking that he was done. So they let him go to Tampa Bay, and all of a sudden that discredited how many fucking Super Bowls did they go to in New England? 9?
They won 6,
yeah. Won 6 and went to 9, right? Or 8?
I think so, yeah. 8 or 9, yeah.
Like, this is what I'm talking about. We don't even know how many he's been to because he's been to so many. So I think he's been to 10. He's won 7. He won 6 with New England. So the worst thing possible was what for Tampa Bay or for New England fans and for the folks up there in the Haba, they had to watch Tom Brady win somewhere else. And then they have this conversation in town and all over fucking everywhere of who's better, Belichick or Brady, when it should be they're unified. Like we're together on this shit. Like they should be synced up. So if Belichick's going for the win record here with Don Shula, why would you allow him to go win the win record with the fucking Chargers? Like, don't you want that shine at home? Don't you look, they have the number 2 pick right now. I think New England is going to win some games at the end of the year. Zappe's not a bad player. He'll be their backup moving forward. The Broncos and the Patriots play in Denver on Christmas Eve. That game scares the absolute shit out of me as a Bronco fan because Bill Belichick would like nothing more than to come in here and steal Christmas to be the Grinch and just screw everything up. And their defense is good enough to beat anybody anywhere if they can get 20 points.
That's a big if, though, Matt. It's a huge if.
Huge if. It's a huge if. No one's saying it's not. But it's only a huge if this year. If they go and find a quarterback, they get Caleb Williams or Drake May or one of these guys that can actually play the position at a high level, and they identify this correctly, I think that they have an opportunity in the worst division in the AFC, and it's been notoriously the worst division. It's better now, but the whole time Tom Brady ran that division, the AFC East was a goddamn shit show, and I know I played in it. I played with the Jets and the Dolphins at the same time that he was in it. We won, and when I was with the Dolphins in 2008, we won the East, and Tom Brady didn't play. That was the year that he got rolled up on by Bernard Pollard, or somebody hit him in the knee.
Game one.
The Brady rule. And then Matt Castle came in and threw for 4,000 yards. They went 11-5, bro, and didn't make the playoffs. We went 5 and had the tiebreaker and won the division. And all our like prize for winning the division was the goddamn Ravens. And they fucked us up proper, bro. Like, I'm telling you, we tried to run Wildcat the first play, and Ray Lewis was like, so left, and Haloti Nada spiked, and Terrell Suggs is coming, and Ed Reed rolls over the top, and I'm just like, we're fucked. We lost 30-3. So what I'm saying is, like a full circle on this. Why, if you're the Patriots, would you want Bill Belichick to go get the wins record in the Charger uniform? Like, you want him to do it in a Charger hat and a Charger hoodie? I mean, does that mean anything to you two? Because I think it means a lot to me. Like, my favorite player ever is John Elway. I love the fact that he only wore orange and blue his whole career. And I know that's super rare and it doesn't really happen that much anymore. But with Bill Belichick, what is he, 15 wins away?
I'm not sure. 19 maybe. I'm not sure.
He
needs a season or a season and a half.
Or season and a half. So if they win 10 games next year, then the year after he's on pace to get the wins record, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So I don't know, man. I think that New England, of all places, where they build, where they don't panic, where they consistently have been good, don't fall on hard times. It's not like they were terrible. They just made the playoffs with Mac Jones' bitch ass 2 years ago. Yeah. Last year they struggled and they weren't competitive, but they weren't awful. And this year they had a long streak at the beginning of the season where they couldn't score points or figure out the quarterback position. I don't see how that's a fireable offense for a guy like Bill Belichick, of all people. If it was a different coach, if it was Bill O'Brien, fire this motherfucker. But if we're talking about Bill Belichick, of all people, nah, man. Like, they might want to pump those brakes, because letting him go somewhere else with another quarterback, every Patriot fan is just going to sit there and be like, what could he have done with Drake May? Drake May and fucking Justin Herbert are the same guy.
Yeah, my boy's the O-line coach there, man. One of my best friends growing up with, Adrian Clem. He's there. He played there.
He's a good coach, too, by the way.
Yeah. Grew up same neighborhood. I think they want to move him to the upper GM office. Like, I think they want to keep him, but be a GM. And I don't know if Belichick's going to go for that.
But Bill's the GM right now, and Matt talked about how bad the weapons are and the quarterback is, and we have no choice but to blame Bill on that, because he is the GM. We have to. I
agree, but I think that, like, maybe, and I don't know, maybe I'm crazy when I say this, but they've been bringing in weapons like they still have Tom Brady. You know,
right.
How they spent a ton of money on Hunter Henry, and they got Mike Gesicki. They're trying to, like, reinvent the Gronkowski, 81 stuff, and, like, all that. I'm not saying that dude's fucking name. Like, all that bullshit that they're trying to Tom Brady this bitch with Mac Jones. And in my opinion, this is what Belichick needs to do. Belichick needs to go hands off on the offense and hire a Joe Brady, or hire an independent thinker that can run the offense.
Yes.
And then Bill just go run the defense, run the personnel. But then when the offensive guys come up to you and say, we want you to draft this receiver, you got to listen to them at this point. And that might be the biggest problem, and why he has to move on, is because he doesn't feel like he needs to listen to anybody. And as a leader, bro, as an owner of businesses, or a leader on the field, if you don't listen to your people, why are they there? So I don't know. Don Shula.
I don't know. I'm split, man.
My father gave me Don Shula's little book of coaching for Christmas when I was 16 years old. And I still have it sitting on my desk at the gym. And I read it all the time. And my favorite passage out of it is, very plainly, your plan isn't worth a damn if you can't change it.
Yeah.
So I would say to Bill Belichick right now, brother, you've got 20 wins and you're the all-time leader in wins in the NFL history, and ain't nobody catching that. Like,
no,
that's one of those fucking, like that's one of those records where you're like, I don't know if anybody's going to get that one. It's like the Jerry Rice
Al
record.
Ripken, Brett Favre. That's
the era that we live in. I don't know if it's going to be feasible. So I would think that the Patriots would want that from start to finish. And I know he did a bunch of wins with Cleveland too, not a bunch, but a couple. But to end it,
the playoffs.
To end, that's true. That's true. The old dog pound. To end it in like LA with the Chargers, with a fan base that doesn't give a shit, and like it would be so melodramatic to me. Like, fuck, dude. If Bill Belichick's going to go somewhere, go back to the Jets.
Little seamless plug right there.
I like Saleh, but as a Jet, if Bill Belichick's available and it's like Aaron Rodgers is coming back and he's got those defensive players, I'm Woody Johnson. I'm sorry, Robert. You got to go, dog. Kick rocks. Bill, come on in. I know you spurned us once, but damn it, like, can you imagine what that would look like if he went to that's like Elway going to the fucking Raiders?
I'm split on this thing because nobody was talking about his GM skills when he was bringing in all these slow whites and they were winning. Like, everybody called him a genius in the GM room. They thought he was a genius by saving cap space and saving money and winning with one guy and Randy Moss, but everyone else was a bunch of slow whites. And now he's a shitty GM. It's like, come on, man. It's all about the now. We live in the now, and he hasn't done anything lately, so now he's a shitty GM. But he was a fucking unbelievable one for 20 years, I guess.
Well, when you got Brady, it's a little easy. Like, yeah. I'm not saying it just changes things right? When you have Brady. All I'm saying.
But he forgot how to. So GM, so Brady GM too, right?
No, I'm saying when you have a Brady, you don't necessarily need a superstar receiver. Is what I'm saying. Well, but when your quarterback play drops, you need better weapons around you.
Well, time out. Let's not act like he didn't have first ballot Hall of Fame superstars. He had Randy Moss. He had Wes Welker. He had Randy Moss for like 4 years, dog. Yes, he had Randy Moss for a long time too.
We might want to fact check that, please.
Stats, but it's definitely not one fucking year.
I think it was like one and some change, and
not 1 year. I know for a fact.
He had Gronk.
He had 81, who was a hell of a player until he went cuckoo.
Hell yeah, two best tight ends in football at one time.
And I'm telling you, if those two would have stayed healthy, or those two would have stayed together and healthy, and Hernandez wouldn't have done what he did, but God knows where those two end up as tight end tandem, because Gronk, in my opinion, is the best complete tight end in history. Edelman and Welker are two of the best slot receivers to ever play. Welker was undrafted. Edelman's a 7th-round quarterback that they identified at Kent State. Right. So I'm not going to sit here and say, it's like, you remember 2 years ago when they drafted Colin Strong in the 2nd round and everybody started laughing about it? Yeah. Well, Colin Strong has now walked in. I think that's his name, Colin, but his last name's definitely Strong. I'm bad with names. That kid's walked in and started every single fucking game for New England. Like, that's what you want in an offensive one. What are you talking about? How is that a bad pick? So I think that because he does things unconventionally, people in today's NFL, like especially the young heads, they all look at it like, oh, what does this old man know? And if I was Belichick, I'd just be flashing 2 hands of rings, motherfucker. This is what I know. So I feel that if you give him a quarterback that's competent, bro, they were in playoff contention with Cam fucking Newton.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that they can't win with good quarterback play. If they get a good quarterback in New England, they get a rookie that can just play within the framework like Max Jones did as a rookie in the framework, made the playoffs. They lost. That's true. They didn't build on it afterwards. Also true. That's on Mac Jones not being able to fucking play the position at a high level and take the next steps in order to be a great player. If they have the 2nd pick, bro, who would you take there? Assuming that Caleb Williams' bitch ass goes off the board at number 1, Justin Fields is available by trade. Drake May, Michael Penix, you got fucking Bo. I think Bo Nix is going to be a hell of a pro. I really like
that. Hartman, I think, is going to be a good
Hartman, pro. That bearded fucking freak that looks like Dan Fouts, probably fucks like Dan Fouts, has got a beard. That motherfucker wears his own bone around his neck. That's the toughest thing in the fucking league.
He'll never smile either. Just like this.
How would you smile, dog? He like his. I mean, what the fuck?
Here's the thing, though, Matt. You know this better than I do, better than most. This is what I don't get. Like Smitty's in the world who are Let's get rid of Belichick. Let's get rid, and not just Smitty. I'm just saying there's a lot of Smitties out there, or not a lot of Smitties. There's a lot of people asking for Belichick to go.
Only one Smitty. There's only one Smitty, JB.
One Smitty. But there's a lot of people that think like Smitty who are slapdicks and think that he needs to go right now. All until that, Matt, everybody out there thinking like Smitty, who wants Belichick gone, is all going to come back and say, damn, JB and Matt was right. They should have kept him for a couple more years, because who are you going to get? You're going to get another guy that you're going to fire in 2 years, because the guy they hire is going to be on the shortest fucking leash of all time. All time.
Who are you going to hire? You don't want to replace the guy. You don't want to be Brian Leach and replace John Elway. You don't want to fucking who replaced Peyton Manning? Fucking Luck. And Luck,
in Indy, yeah, it was Andrew Luck, and we went 11-5, 11-5, 11-5. Yep.
But people in Indianapolis hate him.
We do not. Well, some people do now because of the way he left.
Your fan base, it made me lose a ton of respect for the fan base. Like, the guy lacerated his liver and shit. He can't play no more.
I was disappointed in us as well. Like, I'll admit that. Like, they should. You gonna boo the guy? Yeah.
Back dog, and they booed him. Like, fuck all of you. I'd be standing there, and Andrew Luck's way classier than me, but I would have been holding my nuts and a middle finger up, like, fuck all of you. So I thought that was really, really dirty.
He did put us in a bad spot, though. Just the timing of when he retired. Horrible spot.
I disagree. The Colts in a bad spot. The Colts didn't build around Andrew Luck. They did the same thing with Peyton Manning. To have 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 ring with Peyton fucking Manning, that's on the Colts organization.
Listen, I love Peyton Manning, but bro, that was on Peyton Manning too, bro. We had a good ass team for a long ass fucking.
Their defense was.
Peyton's my goat, so trust me, I love Peyton. So
I'm not talking shit about Peyton Manning. I'm saying
I'm not either.
You give Peyton Manning to fucking Bill Belichick, and they may not lose ever.
Can we be real though?
Smitty.
Hold on, for real, Matt. Be real.
With the exception of Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney, their defense was god fucking awful forever. Bob Sanders was a great player when he was healthy, but he was not healthy enough to actually be considered Mathis and Freeney like potential. So when you take Freeney and Matt, you can't sit here and tell me, even the year they won the Super Bowl, they were giving up 250 yards rushing a game. They went and signed Booger McFarland, and all of a sudden they win a Super Bowl. You get 1 Super Bowl, 1 fucking title with Peyton Manning in 15 years, and you don't think that's a failure?
No. Trust me, I do. But I'm saying and I hate to do this to my guy, we got to put some blame on the quarterback, because Peyton Manning in the play. Hold on. Please listen to me. In the playoffs, man, keep it real. Keep it real. In the playoffs, we did not see the same Peyton Manning that we saw in the regular season, and it happened all the time. He would have an incredible regular season. He'll throw 49 touchdowns. Like, oh my God,
we questioned his impact factor a long time.
And then and trust me, he's my favorite quarterback. But when the playoffs came, man, he just he didn't have that Brady. He didn't have that. It was something was off. And I don't know if he got nervous.
It was his team. It's the team around him. It's not him.
I hear you.
It's the team. Like, I'm going to use a Bronco Peyton Manning perspective. The 4 years he was here, or 5 years, whatever he was. When they made the Super Bowl, I thought it was the best offense I've ever seen. Like, they scored 7 touchdowns against Baltimore to open the season. They were fucking killing people. When they got to the Super Bowl,
destroyed.
They were totally outcoached and outmaneuvered, and they were out personnel. They didn't have Vaughn. He was hurt. They had a bunch of people out. They hadn't signed DeMarcus Ware yet. You know, they still had a defense that wasn't what they had 2 years later when they won the Super Bowl. I'm just saying, a supported Peyton Manning, like Tom Brady was supported. I know there's this narrative that Tom Brady had bad players around him. Bro, look at the defensive football teams that Tom Brady had.
Top 10 every year.
The first 3 Super Bowls. On those 3 Super Bowl teams where he was the quarterback, he was the ultimate game manager. He was not the reason they were winning. He was the reason they were facilitating, and like, he's the reason that they didn't lose, but he's not the reason they were winning. You had Ted Bruschi and Rodney Harrison and Asante Samuel and motherfucking Willie McGinnis and Vince Wilfork and Richard Seymour, first ballot Hall of Fame 3 technique, and Mike fucking Vrabel And like they had, dude, bro.
Yeah, they did.
Like I remember playing them as a rookie on Monday Night Football. And like Chad Brown, my homeboy Chad, is playing backup linebacker in like his 14th year for New England at that point. And after the game, they beat the shit out of us on Monday Night Football, and I'm yucking it up with Chad on the field. And I'm just like, bro, like, is the meeting, like, tell me about the meeting. Was it crazy? And he's like, the knowledge in the room from the players alone is insane. Like, we know what everybody's going to do before they do it. They went and won the Super Bowl again that year. The first 3 Super Bowls with Tom, he was supported by great defense. Then they went on like a 9-year stretch where they didn't win shit.
Yeah,
they lost twice to the Giants, and then they were like, okay, we need to up the offense. So they upped the offense, and all of a sudden they become an offensive football team. But they still relied on the defensive side of the ball from a paramount standpoint, because that's what Belichick does. This is how I know that if you just give him a quarterback, if he picks the correct quarterback. And I'm not saying that if he takes Caleb Williams or Justin Fields, he'll probably try and put him in a box and fuck it up. So I don't know. Maybe Drake May is the guy, but I definitely, wholeheartedly would not be letting fucking Bill Belichick leave to go hoist the all-time wins record with the Chargers or some shit. By the way, if you want to go do that with them, it may take 15 years. That fucking franchise is poo-poo.
So at what point is it time to let go of a great coach? We understand his history. We understand what he's done. But at what point are we like, okay? Because like if he gets Drake May, there's a good chance he'll have a bad year next year. He's a rookie, right? You know, I mean, he's not going to go win 13 games with a rookie.
Well, they went to the playoffs with Mac Jones as a rookie. They were the wild card. So I know this is probably unpopular, but I think that historically great players and head coaches deserve the right to leave on their own. I thought the way the Colts did Peyton Manning was horrible. I thought the way the Patriots did Tom Brady was horrible. They told him they didn't want him. That's why he left in free agency. He can't play anymore. We're going to move on. Oh, okay. I'm going to go win another Super Bowl. You know, I thought the way that certain teams do their aging veterans is just dog shit. The way the Broncos did Mike Shanahan was awful. The way that the Patriots are going to do Bill Belichick, it's awful. So I know that in this business, it's like, well, it's cutthroat, and who gives a shit about the feelings and the emotions? And I'm that way too, to a point. But when you are an all-time great, I think that you earn the right to kind of walk out on your own terms. Now, that's a double-edged sword, because you could have a Brett Favre situation where he just won't leave. So,
right.
Look, man, I don't really think there's a right answer. Yeah, like there's not a right answer to the question, but
yeah,
it's more of an opinion-based question, if that makes sense. But I definitely, I don't know, man. I hate the fucking Patriots with a passion. I think they're a bunch of cheating fucks, but at the same time, I know what greatness looks like, and Bill Belichick is that, period.